Have you ever stopped to think, what if Islam stopped at you? What if you were the last practicing Muslim in your family? What if your lack of care, your neglect of the deen, and your actions today set off a chain reaction that causes your children, your grandchildren, and generations after them to abandon Islam completely? Imagine this. Your ancestors, centuries ago, held onto Islam through struggles, through hardship, through wars, through oppression. They made sacrifices to ensure their children remained Muslim. They passed down the Quran. They prayed in secret when it was dangerous. They taught their children to say La ilaha illallah before they could even walk. And now you stand at the end of that chain. Will you be the one to break it? Will you? Let's be real. If you don't pray, if you don't care about your deen, why would your children? If you put your career, your entertainment, your desires before Allah, what do you think your children will do? They won't just neglect prayer. They might never even learn to pray. They won't just be distant from the Quran. They might never even touch it. They won't just sin. They might even mock the religion because they never saw it as something serious in your household. It all goes back to you. And when they have children, your grandchildren won't even know what Islam is. They're just thinking, it's some kind of culture that their grandparents once, used to follow. That's it. No biggie. This is becoming increasingly popular. And this is just the beginning. Believe me, it will get a lot worse. A lot worse. You think I'm exaggerating? Look around. Look at families where Islam was once strong. And now generations later, you can see the way that Iman has faded. Their descendants have completely left their faith, abandoned the religion. You might say, but that won't happen to my kids. But how do you know? If Islam is just something you were born into, but never truly lived, how can you expect your children to hold on to it when the world is calling them in every other direction? And yet you think you're safe from this. What will you say to Allah? Honestly, reflect upon this. One day you will stand in front of Allah and He will ask you, I gave you Islam. Through my mercy, I blessed you with Islam. I gave you guidance. I made you the link in the chain of faith. Why did you let it end with you? Why did you break that chain? What will you say? What would be your excuse? That you were too busy? Too distracted? That you thought someone else would do the job for you? Islam isn't just about you, your actions, your prayers, your knowledge. It's all part of something much bigger. You are part of the ummah. You are part of a legacy. But here's the thing. It's not too late. Right now you have the power to change everything. You can decide today that Islam will not stop at you. Start praying consistently. Start learning properly. Start living like a true Muslim. If you have children, teach them from now. Prepare yourself to be the foundation of a strong Muslim family. Be the reason your lineage continues in the light of Islam, not the reason it falls into darkness. Because on the day of judgment, when your descendants stand before Allah, either they will be grateful that you kept the faith alive, that you preserved Islam within the family, or they will blame you for being the reason they lost it. In the Quran it says, "Oh, you have believed, protect yourselves and your families from a fire whose fuel is people and stones." Islam cannot stop at us. We won't let it. Parents, understand this. Your children will not automatically inherit Islam. You have to give it to them. And at one point when they grow older, they have to decide whether they want to stay as a Muslim or not. If you don't teach them to love Allah, someone else will teach them to love everything but Him. If you don't instill the importance of Salah, don't be surprised when they never pray. If you don't show them that Islam is a way of life, they'll grow up thinking it's just a culture, something optional, something they can abandon when it no longer fits their desires. And then years from now, when they don't even remember how to say La ilaha illallah, you'll have to ask yourself, where did I go wrong? We live in a world designed to pull you away from your deed, a world where haram is normalized and obedience to Allah is mocked. Where your phone, your social media, your entertainment, everything is engineered to make you forget your purpose, to neglect your purpose. Once upon a time, you had to go looking for sin. Now sin comes looking for you. And if you're not firmly holding onto your faith, it will slip through your fingers, just like it has for millions before you. The dunya is a current. Imagine it like this. It's a current. If you're not actively swimming towards Allah, you are being dragged away from Him. Now ask yourself, if you were to die today, what would you be leaving behind? Would your children know how to make dua for you? Would they know how to do the janazah prayer for you when you pass away? Or would they be too busy chasing dunya you raised them to love? Would your family continue your legacy of faith? Or would they be the first generation to leave Islam behind? On the day of judgment, there will be no excuses. You won't be able to say, Allah, I was too busy. You won't be able to say, I thought Islam would just pass down on its own. Every action, every choice, every moment of neglect, you will be held accountable for it. Your parents worked hard. Especially many of our parents, they came from immigrant backgrounds, maybe even picked up extra shifts, took on second jobs, just to afford, to send us to the masjid. They paid for your Quran classes. They sacrificed their time to make sure you learned. Now look at yourself. Look at yourself. That same mouth that once recited the Quran, that once said La ilaha illallah with purity, that same mouth now sings songs which promote haram. That same mouth is used to fulfill your lust in your haram relationship. That same mouth that once called upon Allah in dua now lies, curses, and spits out filth. The same eyes that once lit up with joy when opening the Quran are now glued to haram, to shamelessness, to things that darken the heart. That same finger that once used to turn the pages of the Mus'haf now scrolls through endlessly through filth and distractions. The same hands that were raised in dua, that were once placed on the chest in salah, now reaches for haram, engages in actions that take you further and further away from Allah. Do you not feel ashamed? Your heart was once pure, you were once innocent, but somewhere along the way you let go of Islam. Now look at you. But here's the thing, you can always return. Allah blessed you with Islam through His mercy. Do not be the one who throws that away. Do not let Islam stop at you. Your actions today shape the future of Islam in your family. Remember that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.